We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mpox coming up in the next 30 minutes. Indian diaspora in Poland lauds PM Modi's speech reflecting India's growth story. Prime Minister Modi to meet his counterpart Donald Tusk and President Andrzej Duda on day 2. Tim Walz accepts nomination to be Harris's running mate at Democratic Convention, hits the ground running as he launches an attack on Republicans, says they will ban abortion if they win. US President Joe Biden, in a phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, stresses urgency of Gaza ceasefire and points to Cairo negotiations. The Democratic Republic of Congo reports over 1,000 new Mpox cases in a week. Africa urgently seeks vaccines as viral disease rages in the Central African nation. First up, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Poland as part of his 3-day visit to Central Europe. Let's get you the details. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has a packed day in Poland today. Day will begin with the ceremonial welcome at the Chancellery. Later, he will hold a restricted meeting with his Polish counterpart, Donald Tusk, followed by delegation talks and joint statements. The Prime Minister will lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, after which he will hold bilateral meeting with President Andrzej Duda. Finally, before leaving for Ukraine, PM Modi will interact with business leaders and Polish influencers. And we now get you a quick recap of PM's engagements on day 1. PM Modi addressed the Indian diaspora in capital city of Warsaw, during which he shared his thoughts on the transformative progress achieved by the country and outlined his vision for a developed India. He also dwelled on India's age-old philosophy of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family, and its contribution to global progress and well-being. The Prime Minister stated that India, following the tradition of Buddha, is committed to peace rather than war. He emphasized that India advocates for peace in the region and believes that now is not the time for conflict.
भारत बुद्ध की विरासत वाली धरती है। और जब बुद्ध की बात आती है तो जो युद्ध नहीं, शांति पर विश्वास करती है। और इसलिए भारत इस रीजन में भी स्थायी शांति का एक बड़ा पैरोकार है। भारत का मत एकदम साफ है। ये युद्ध का युग नहीं है। ये उन चुनौतियों से निपटने के लिए एकजुट होने का समय है, जिनसे मानवता को सबसे बड़े खतरे हैं। इसलिए भारत डिप्लोमेसी और डायलॉग पर बल दे रहा है।
And for more, we have Vishal Baristo joining us from Poland. Well, Vishal, what all is lined up for today and how the day was yesterday?
Well, a very good morning to you, Lipakshi. As you just heard, the Prime Minister, he is telling the world that India is all for peace. This is not the time to fight. This is time to stand united against the bigger evils like the world faced during COVID-19. So he said that India is all for diplomatic solutions for any problem, and he was hinting at his upcoming Ukraine trip. We know that the world is suffering the pangs of from the pangs of Russia-Ukraine war. Today, after meeting the president and the prime minister and having his bilateral meeting, he would be having a joint statement, and then he would later in the day leave for Kyiv. So it is going to be a very, very important day for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Yesterday, he also had a very hectic schedule with the Indian diaspora at 3 different places. One was the Jamnagar Memorial, second was the Monte Cassino Memorial, where the Kolhapur Memorial has been raised by the Poles Association in India. And then in the evening, he also addressed the Indian diaspora. It was a very, very lively evening. I can tell you, Lipakshi, that people were so very excited to receive the Prime Minister, to welcome him. And why not? It was the first meeting with the Prime Minister in 45 years.
Right. Also, Vishal, there had to be a lot of bilateral partnerships and cooperation in diverse areas. Could you tell us more on that?
Well, certainly the Prime Minister would be having bilaterals with the Prime Minister and President of Poland, and today he would also go and offer his obeisance at the monument which is the tomb of the unknown soldier. But in the bilateral meetings, many things are going to be discussed, because though India and Poland, they are very close partners. Poland is still India's largest trading partner in Central Asia, but it's a long way to go. Yesterday, when I spoke to the Deputy Foreign Minister of Poland, he informed us that though India is Poland's largest partner as far as Central Asia, Central Europe is concerned, but still it's a long, long way to go, because in comparison to China, it is only 1/10. So we need to raise the bar, and especially areas like satellite space, satellite, artificial intelligence, digitization. Now, these are the key areas where India and Poland can go a long way, because so far we have had trade in textiles, trade in machinery tools, but the new areas like artificial intelligence can go a long way. And Prime Minister also spoke about the plans of India establishing its own space station. So both countries, they have democratically elected a government, and even the Prime Minister also mentioned in his speech that the recent general elections was a record in itself, because a huge population participated, and a lot of man and machinery also were pressed into service. It was a long and tiresome and cumbersome process, but still the world should know that why India is called the mother of democracy. Lipakshi?
Right. Also, Vishal, on eve of Ukraine visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that not time for war, message he gave from Poland. What all is expected there?
Well, absolutely, the message was very, very clear, and he said that India wants stability in the region, and it is not a time for war. It is time to reconcile and stand united. And he also said that India is the land of Lord Buddha, and Buddha is all for non-violence and all for peace. And world stability is what India is eyeing at. India says that it believes in the principles of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family. One earth, one family, one future was the motto of G20. And Prime Minister also quoted this during his speech. And he said that there are challenges, and we need to fight those challenges together, not with guns, but with diplomatic ideas, diplomatic solutions, with bilateral meetings. And these are the key issues that would also come up with the President and Prime Minister of Poland today, when Prime Minister will have a bilateral with them separately, with both the President and the Prime Minister of Poland.
All right, India is a supporter of peace, as Prime Minister said. Thank you so much, Vishal, for all that update from there. And moving on, Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz has branded Donald Trump as weird and dangerous at Democratic National Convention in Chicago. The Minnesota governor, who's become a household name in just a few short weeks, introduced himself to American voters and promised Kamala Harris was ready to lead the U.S. with energy, passion and joy. Nick Harper reports for more from Washington.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz rounded out day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. His speech was short, but it was packed full of energy and packed full of sports metaphors. He embraced his small-town American upbringing and his time as a high school American football coach. He said he wasn't used to giving big speeches like this one. He said he was more used to giving pep talks to his team as a coach. He tried to draw a contrast between himself and Donald Trump, saying that his values were all about looking after your neighbours, being a good neighbour, being there for the people in your community, even if they had different views to you. He branded Trump as weird and dangerous and said that he was ready to turn the page on him.
When Republicans use the word freedom, they mean that the government should be free to invade your doctor's office. Corporations free to pollute your air and water. And banks free to take advantage of customers. But when we Democrats talk about freedom, we mean the freedom to make a better life for yourself and the people that you love. Freedom to make your own health care decisions. And yeah, your kids' freedom to go to school without worrying about being shot dead in the hall.
During the course of the night, we also heard speeches which were all based around the theme of fighting for freedoms. The Democrats saying that they would fight for abortion rights, reproductive rights, civil rights, and saying that Trump would be a threat to freedom in the form of being a threat to democracy. There was also a surprise speech from Oprah Winfrey, and she said that this was all about a choice between Harris's optimism and Trump's cynicism, saying that it was a choice between common sense and nonsense. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
Well, former U.S. President Bill Clinton delivered the keynote at DNC. It marked his 12th consecutive DNC speaking appearance. Clinton praised Biden for his work on a number of issues and expressed thanks for his sacrifice in stopping a side.
We were in the middle of a pandemic and an economic crash. He healed our sick and put the rest of us back to work. And he strengthened our alliances for peace and security. He stood up for Ukraine. He's trying desperately to get a ceasefire in the Middle East.
And former President Donald Trump on Wednesday held his first outdoor campaign event since he was grazed by a bullet in an assassination attempt. During the rally in North Carolina, Trump accused the Biden administration of manipulating job statistics, saying they added 818,000 jobs that don't exist. Trump spoke from behind a podium surrounded by panes of bulletproof glass that formed a protective wall across the state aimed at keeping him safe after the attack by Pennsylvania gunmen on July 13th.
The Harris-Biden administration has been caught fraudulently manipulating job statistics to hide the true extent of the economic ruin that they've inflicted on America. The new data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the administration padded the numbers with an extra, listen to this one, 818,000 jobs that don't exist. So they said they existed, and they never did exist. They built them up so that they could say what a wonderful job they're doing. No, we've never had numbers like this. They don't exist.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. We'll tell you the latest update on Kolkata case as the investigating agency and state police file status report in the apex court. An explosion occurred in the southern coastal region of Andhra Pradesh's Anapali at the pharma firm's plant. Inquiry ordered. And German goalkeeper Manuel Neuer announces retirement from international football.
23rd August 2023, India created history by successfully landing Chandrayaan-3 on the lunar surface. To commemorate the feat, August 23rd has been declared as National Space Day.
I see space as a critical infrastructure without which, like roads, waterways and air transport, space is becoming so critical for our security, for national asset mapping and for comfort of life of human beings. We must become a leader to take it the place to go to Moon, Mars and habitat of creation of human beings outside. Who else will do? I believe India will be the leader in doing it.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mpox and moving on. U.S. President Joe Biden urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the urgency of sealing a deal for a truce in Gaza and the release of hostages. Though both the conflicting parties, Israel and Hamas, stuck firmly to their demands, White House in a statement said that Biden pressed Israeli PM to close the ceasefire and hostage release deal and discussed upcoming talks in Cairo to remove any remaining obstacles. U.S., Israeli, Egyptian and Qatari negotiators who are expected to meet in Cairo this weekend have for months struggled to bridge differences between Israel and Hamas. The call between Biden and Netanyahu comes after the trip by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to West Asia. And Russia says Ukraine on Wednesday launched one of the biggest drone attacks against Moscow since the start of the full-scale invasion. It said 11 drones were shot down over the capital. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces are continuing to advance in Russia's Kursk region. Megan Milim has more from Kyiv.
Russian officials said on Wednesday 45 Ukrainian drones were intercepted over several regions and that 11 of them were headed for Moscow. Ukraine has so far not commented and no injuries or damages have so far been reported. Now, Ukraine's military said on Wednesday it struck the site of an S-300 anti-aircraft system in Russia's southern Rostov region. This system has been used by Moscow's forces to carry out attacks against Ukrainian cities. And Ukraine, for the first time, revealed that Russia had launched a total of 9,600 missiles and 14,000 attack drones since the start of the full-scale invasion. Kyiv said a majority of these attacks were carried out by S-300 and S-400 missiles. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces are continuing to advance in Russia's Kursk region. The country's commander-in-chief, Alexander Syrsky, said his forces captured an additional 28 to 35 kilometers of territory and now controlled a total of 93 settlements. Analysts are saying Ukraine still needs to capture a few more settlements to secure a buffer zone for the Sumy region to protect it from future Russian attacks and potential ground offensives. Now, authorities in the Sumy region said evacuations have been planned for 45,000 people living near the border with Russia. Although the Kursk incursion did push Russian forces back and artillery attacks have decreased, retaliatory airstrikes in the area have reportedly intensified. Megumi Lim in Kyiv reporting for DD India.
Well, the Democratic Republic of Congo has recorded more than 1,000 new Mpox cases in the last week as the viral disease rages in the Central African nation. More than 500 people have died and over 16,000 others have contracted the disease since the start of this year. DD India correspondent Chris Okamringa has more from Kinshasa.
The ongoing Mpox outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo is spreading fast across the country. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says more than 1,000 cases have been recorded over the past week. The health body fears the reported cases might be an underestimate because many patients in remote areas are not being tested for Mpox. The DRC's healthcare system has been destroyed by decades of conflict and corruption. The country's health minister recently said they need $49 million to tackle the outbreak, but the government has released $10 million and promised to provide more funds later. The US and Japan have also pledged to send vaccines. The Mpox cases in the DRC have spread to neighboring countries. Scientists say a new variant that's deadlier than the one reported globally in 2022 is to blame for the rapid spread. The World Health Organization recently declared the outbreak a global health emergency to help prevent it from spreading further. Chris Okamringa in Kinshasa, reporting for DD India.
Well, the Sri Lankan government has announced visa-free access for citizens of 35 countries, including major nations like India, UK, USA, Canada, Germany, Japan, among others. This initiative, approved by the Sri Lanka's cabinet, will take effect from 1st of October this year and will last for 6 months. It is notable that India is the largest source market for tourism to Sri Lanka. And moving on to some national stories now, India's President Draupadi Murmu presented Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar or National Science Awards 2024 in Delhi on Thursday. The awards were conferred to the celebrated biochemist Govindarajan Padmabhan, who was selected for the first Vigyan Ratna Award, the topmost science award in the country. While ISRO's Chandrayaan-3 team was selected for the first Vigyan Team Award, the awards are given in the field of science, technology and innovation to recognize outstanding and inspiring scientific, technological and innovative contributions of researchers, technologists and innovators. And latest update on the Kolkata case, the investigating agency CBI and West Bengal police filed the status report before Supreme Court as the hearing in the Kolkata doctors' rape and murder case resumes. West Bengal government on Wednesday removed 3 senior officials of the RG Kar hospital, bowing to the demand of junior doctors who have been protesting against the alleged rape and murder of a postgraduate trainee in the state-run health facility. Meanwhile, the investigating agency CBI grilled former RG Kar Hospital principal Sandeep Ghosh for the 6th consecutive day. On Wednesday, a team of the Central Industrial Security Force visited Kolkata's RG Kar Medical College and Hospital for inspection on the order of the Supreme Court, which pulled up the West Bengal government on Tuesday for the mob rampage at the state-run hospital on the intervening night of August 14th and 15th. And in India's southern coastal region of Andhra Pradesh's Anapali, at least 17 people died and 35 were injured in an explosion. The explosion occurred at the Essentia Company, a pharma firm's plant in the Special Economic Zone. Essentia makes intermediate chemicals and active pharma ingredients. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu has ordered an inquiry. President of India expressed grief. She posted on social media X, and I quote, "Deeply anguished to know about the loss of lives in an explosion at a pharma company in Anapali district of Andhra Pradesh. My heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families. I pray for speedy recovery of the injured," unquote. Also on Platform X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrote, and I quote, "Pained by the loss of lives due to a mishap at a factory in Anapali. Condolences to those who lost their near and dear ones. May the injured recover soon. An ex gratia of ₹2 lakh from PMNRF would be given to the next of kin of each deceased. The injured would be given ₹50,000, unquote. And in sports and football, Germany goalkeeper Manuel Neuer has announced his retirement from international football. The 38-year-old, who won the 2014 World Cup, was capped 124 times, with his final appearance for Germany coming in last month's Euro 2024 quarter-final defeat against Spain. Neuer made his international debut in 2009 and played in 8 major tournaments. He was Germany's starting goalkeeper in their World Cup final win over Argentina in 2014 and served as captain from 2018 until earlier this year when Ilkay Gundogan took over the role. Also, India's star javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra will be in action at the Lausanne Diamond League late on Thursday night. The event features a strong field, including Paris Olympics bronze medalist Anderson Peters, though Olympic champion Arshad Nadeem will skip the event. The Lausanne Diamond League meet will be the 5th competition of the season for Neeraj Chopra. Neeraj won silver at Paris 2024 with a throw of 89.45 meters and is currently 4th in the Diamond League standings. He needs a top 6 finish in Lausanne to qualify for the Diamond League final in Brussels next month. His main competition includes Jakub Walche of Czechia and Julian Weber of Germany. And Portuguese footballer Cristiano Ronaldo broke the world record after hitting the fastest 1 million YouTube subscribers on Thursday. The football star launched his channel on Wednesday, quickly amassing hundreds of thousands of subscribers within hours. The 39-year-old and 5-time Ballon d'Or winner announced on social media, saying the wait is over, the channel is here. Subscribe and join the journey. Just a couple of hours later, after his first video went live, 1.69 million subscribers had already joined his channel. Ronaldo, who has 112.5 million followers on the X platform and 636 million on Instagram, is set to take over YouTube next. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Well, let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mpox from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.